Hi everyone, Coco here. You may have seen me on the Brent Pearson YouTube channel, Riding with Brent and all the Dirt Crew guys. That's not all I do, because all of those videos are mixed right here in this studio. I do the audio mix for all Brent's videos. Brent and I were talking recently about the fact that many companies are approaching him to review bits of gear. And Brent's not really into that, and I said, well, I can give it a crack. So here I am, #1 review. Today I'm going to look at something that we all need, which is navigation. And a little bit more than that as well. So a lot of you have got Garmin's or similar, but you've also got a phone in your pocket or in your tank bag. But what if that phone could become your main navigation tool? Today I'm going to look at the Carpuride W702Pro, and it could be that link between your phone and a bigger screen to get you riding around the country. Let's check it out. So I'll just let you know that Carpuride gave me this unit for free to evaluate, but what I'm going to tell you is my honest opinion. They have no input at all. So the Carpuride W702Pro is a CarPlay unit, that is for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. What this allows you to do is have your phone come up on a larger screen on the bike, and you can do things like make and take calls, texts, play music, and of course the important one for us, navigate. It's like an extension of your phone. So let's open up the box and see what's inside. You get this 7-inch tablet which has a RAM-style ball at the back, a square bracket for mounting to a tower bar, a handlebar clamp mount with a RAM-style extension arm, a power cable to connect the unit to your battery or switch point, a USB cable for connection to a USB port, a spare fuse, bolts as required, a couple of tools, and a manual. It explains things well. So here's the unit. 7-inch screen in a plastic shroud, which feels pretty good actually, very solid. The back of it has a RAM-style ball mount, which again is really on there. Power cable out the back. And on the side here we've got the power switch and room for an SD card, which you need a screwdriver to get in and out. I'll come back to that one later on. Has the 2 mounting options, one for a bar like on a tower, the other for your handlebar. Handlebar goes through here, and then the RAM-style arm lets you manoeuvre it into position. The other thing to note about this is it's rated waterproof to IP67, so those 2 numbers mean 2 different things. The 6 is relating to solids like dust, and it's out of a scale of 6, so it's 6 out of 6, meaning that the unit is dustproof. And the second number, the 7, relates to water, and that's out of a scale of 9. So it's doing pretty well. You can actually submerge this up to 1 metre, 3 feet, for up to 30 minutes. Let's hope we're not having our bikes submerged for 30 minutes in a river somewhere in the middle of nowhere. The only other advice is if you're cleaning your bike with a gurney, probably don't hit this with a really hard spray. So let's power this thing up. It's got this little proprietary cable they have to pin with a little keyway in it here, and this one as well. O-ring to keep the water out, which is good. And we just put that in. I'm running just off a USB pack at the moment, and as soon as I put it in, it starts firing up, ready to go. As you can see, it's pretty quick to load. So there's really 2 screens. There's the Carpuride home screen, and then there's also the Apple Play or Android screen once you connect. But as you can see on the Carpuride screen, most of these functions are pretty self-explanatory. But there's 3 that I'll point out, and the first is the EQ section. We can change the EQ. It's got a few different pop, rock, soft, settings on it. And then the SD card. You can put the card in with photos, video, sounds, music, whatever you like, so you can play that at some other time. You'll need to play the sound through your helmet or take a little Bluetooth speaker or something like that if you want to hear it. If you really want to watch a movie while you're camping in the outback, up to you. And this last one is called mountings, and that has a compass and a barometer and altimeter. Sort of handy. Oh, just one more thing, screen brightness. So that's the brightest it is, and that is fully dimmed, say at night time. But it is auto sensing, so if you put it on the brightest, and in this room it's a bit more dim than outside. Obviously, if I turn this on, it should dim down. And there it goes. It's dimmed it to that much, saying that's where we need to be. Okay, so connecting your phone to the Carpuride is fairly simple for CarPlay. You can connect the audio in different ways, but I'll show you what worked best for me. First of all, we go to our settings and we go to Bluetooth. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see Carpuride with the brackets and a few letters, numbers. Click on that one. And hopefully we get a pairing request. We can see the numbers here on the phone and there. We go pair, allow. It is now pairing. Connect using CarPlay, and it will have one more little thing it asks for to allow to do CarPlay apps, which we allow. Then we go to Wi-Fi and we look for the Carpuride Wi-Fi, and there it is at the top of the list. So we connect to that, ready to go. So these are the apps that we can see from my phone at the moment. The next thing to do is connect our helmet comms, in my case a Sena, to the Carpuride using Bluetooth. So I forget the Sena as a device on my phone so the phone doesn't grab it, and then put it into pairing mode. And now we go to audio output, Sena. And now you can see the Sena is connected here. And if we go to the volume knobs, you'll now see that we've got media, music or whatever you're playing. We have voice, that's Siri. We also have the mic has come up. Now if we play a bit of music, okay, so now we've got music playing as we wanted. And now we'll try navigating. Hey Siri, navigate to 400 George Street using Google Maps.
Getting directions to 400 George Street, Sydney using Google Maps.
And there we go, up it comes. Music comes back, everything's working as it should be. Another thing to note is if you then walk away from here, maybe with your helmet on if you're out and about, and you walk down to help someone 20, 30 metres away, you'll lose connection. When you come back, it won't work. So you have to restart the Carpuride. Mind you, if you're walking away and you know you're going to be a few minutes, you'll probably turn the key off so the bike goes off, and then you turn the bike on again and you've done the restart anyway and everything should be fine. So another thing you can do using an SD card is change the startup screen on the Carpuride. You may have noticed when I've been restarting it, it comes up with the logo across it, but you can put your own image on there. The way to do that is you get an image, it's supposed to be 1024 by 600 pixels, but it's got to be in a certain format. So you've got to go to this website, which I've got up here. Basically, you just upload this file, it changes it, and download the file, and then you put it onto this little bad boy. Just put it into the SD card slot here, and then we get this dialog to update it, and we hit yes. And in this case, I've chosen this beautiful picture of HD flying his drone. Look at him, he's a special, special man. Very special. So I thought I'd just give you a look at how I've mounted it. I've had to mount it just on the bar with the bar clamp that comes with it, because I was planning on mounting it over here on the GPS point, but bracket didn't come soon enough to do that, so I've had to just use the bar mount for this particular test. It's okay, the little arm is a little hard to get in position. It's not very long, so it doesn't give you a lot of latitude, but it's okay. And at the moment, it's okay, but not ideal, but it'll do for now. But anyway, let's get back on the road. Go across a few bridges of Sydney. As you can see, it's a lovely sunny day here, nice and bright, so a good test for the screen. And look at that, it's pretty bright. You can see absolutely everything on it. No problem with that at all. We can go to some music and play some music if we want. Got some music playing in my headphones at the moment. And again, that's all pretty clear too. So the other good thing about this unit is
when you're in the BT Trans mode, it's got dual Bluetooth. So what that means is if you've got a pillion passenger on, you can hook up their helmet comms as well. So you can have two helmet comms running at the same time. So you can both listen to the same piece of music and also just talk to each other as well. So the screen is, it's not dimmed too much in this tunnel, but it's a fairly bright tunnel, so. And as we go into the sun, yeah, it's brightened up a bit again. Let's put a little bit more brightness into the screen. Another monster ute. Anzac Bridge. So yeah, it's quite handy being able to take calls, get Siri to read your texts, send text for you. That's handy, as well as the whole navigation thing. And navigation's working well. Siri sometimes is a little flaky. That could be just the wind in the helmet and everything, maybe. So coming up onto the Harbour Bridge. So yeah, the screen's looking great. Very clear. The writing, the name of the streets and suburbs and what have you, I can see it all. It's really good. So I don't have any complaints there at all. Nice and bright, really bright, and a really good size. The other thing I'll say about the screen mounted on this arm is that it's actually not vibrating around much at all. It's a bit bumpy around here because they're doing road work. But even so, it's quite a good solid image. Okay, so I've pulled up an old map from a ride a few years ago, just a GPX file. Opened it with Gaia. And here it is on the screen. And we're tracking the red line as planned by Brent. This is just leaving Sydney, this bit obviously. Tracking as it should. So, I mean, if you're in the bush following a bush track, I don't really see that there'd be any difference, really. I mean, you're just following the map and following the line, and it seems to be working okay. So at any rate, I think it's time to head back to the studio and wrap this up.
It's been a great little unit just to use around town. I mean, you can't fault it with Google Maps and Waze, it's great. And I did do that little experiment with Gaia, chasing an old GPX map, and it seems to work pretty well. So I think on a longer ride with GPX over a few days, I think it would be okay. A couple of things to keep in mind. One is that your phone battery might die a little faster if you're using it as a primary navigation tool. The other thing is that when it's mounted on the RAM mount arm, it's pretty easy to steal. So it's literally walk up, undo, unplug and run. But having said that, by the same token, it's that easy for you to take it off the bike at the end of your ride and take it in to the hotel with you. And another thing which is about the controlling of the maps, some dedicated nav units offer handlebar mounted controllers, so you never have to touch the screen, which is a much safer way to operate. And the Carpuride doesn't actually have a controller that can do this. I have found a controller which states that it works with iOS and Android. If it does, I'll let you know. I might post a little update video about that one. I hope you've liked the video, and you can buy the W702 Pro if you like using the link below. Its retail price is $329 US or just over $500 Australian. But there is a discount code there, Coco30, which will give you 30% off that price. So that's quite a saving. Yes, I get a small commission as well, which helps fund doing these things. It'd be great if you could hit the subscribe button and give my channel a little kick along. And also don't forget to visit Brent Pearson's channel, where you can see myself, Brent and the Dirt Crew guys going on lots of ADV rides. I hope you've enjoyed the review, and I hope to be doing a few more with you, and I'll see you in the future. Until then, ride safe. See ya.